Hi, this is Otto Penzler. I'm at the Mysterious Bookshop in Manhattan for our weekly show about authors and books and collecting. And it looks like you got a little preview of who we're going to be talking about today when our producer, director, and cinematographer showed you all the John Sandford books on the shelf. And there's another pile here. John Sanford is one of the most popular writers in America, and also one of the best. His long-running series of Lucas Davenport is just a terrific series. In addition to being sometimes violent, sometimes very careful about observation and deduction. He's a great character, but they're also funny in spite of some of the violence. And wonderfully written. It's one of my favorite series. Lucas Davenport is his best-known series character. He's been, I don't know how many books exactly, but probably around 25 books about that character, who has had various jobs in the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. And I love the optimism of that. A lot of organizations have investigation, but this is apprehension. They're going to catch these guys. Anyway, John Sanford, his real name is John Camp. He's used the John Sanford pseudonym for a while because his first book came out under his own name, and then he had his first his first Davenport book come out 3 months later with a different publisher, and everybody was concerned that people are going to be confused about what's the new book and what's it about, and it's somewhat different. And so he was talked into using his pseudonym, which is now far better known. He won a Pulitzer Prize as John Camp for his journalism. Anyway, his very first book was written as John Camp, as you see. It's quite scarce now. He didn't have quite the success that he did with the John Camp books. This is published by Holt, and this is an advanced proof copy, which is quite rare, an advanced proof copy of his very first book. But Holt is really easy to tell first editions. The copyright page will show you first edition, and also, as so many modern publications, most publishers nowadays use that number sequence, and the number sequence has to go down to the number 1 or start at the number 1, depending upon how you're looking at it. As you see, of course, an advanced copy would have that. Here's, by the way, this is $20, and here's the first edition. And it is signed as John Camp, as you might expect, his first book. At that time, his only work of fiction that was published, signed under that real name. And there on the copyright page, again, you'll see first edition and the number sequence going down to 1. This is a fairly uncommon book in perfect condition, as you see, and it's $100. Here's another copy. I know I'm saying it's a scarce book, and I've got 2 of them, so the wealth just overflows here. This one is not signed, but it does have laid in some publicity material. There's the review slip, showing that this is one of the first copies off the press, which is always a nice thing. I loved collecting books with review slips or other material showing that it was one of the first books. When we ship books from the Mysterious Press to reviewers and other important people, the very first books that come from the printer, before they're available in bookshops, those are advanced copies, and that's what these are. So I'm always very happy to get those. And there again, of course, is the first edition and the number sequence. Since it's not signed, this is $45. His second book as John Camp is the Empress file. Also not a common book. This also is signed as John Camp. There's the signature. And again, since it's Holt, it's easy to tell. There's the first edition and the number sequence. This is actually, there are fewer copies of these around than of Fool's Run, suggesting to me that either most copies of the Empress file went into libraries or it had a smaller print run. I'm not sure. But it's a little bit harder to find than the first book. It's also $100. Here's the very first Lucas Davenport, Rules of Prey. If you are familiar with John Sanford at all, you know that every one of the Lucas Davenport books has the word prey in the title. This is a fine first edition, and this is a different publishing company. This is Putnam, who has published all of his Lucas Davenport books. It's a signed copy. That is the John Sanford signature, not John Camp, although it's kind of hard to read, just saying. But Putnam also is very easy to tell, first editions. They also use the number sequence that begins with 1 or goes down to 1, depending upon if you're reading from the right or the left. And this is an important book because Sanford has become one of the biggest sellers and most loved writers in America. He made an interesting statement that he's written 40 books altogether, and every one of them appeared on the New York Times bestseller list in one form or another. The Camps were reissued in paper, and they made the New York Times list. So this is a signed copy of the first book in beautiful condition, and it's $150. His second book, Eyes of Prey, is also from Putnam, of course. This is an advanced proof copy, not very common. And as you would expect, signed. And naturally the same copyright page info, the number sequence going down to 1. This is uncommon as an advanced proof copy, nice condition, but $20. Here's the Eyes of Prey, the first edition. Also an uncommon book. A lot of the Prey books later become much more common because he was so successful. The print runs were bigger. Again, this is signed. And I'm getting boring because it's kind of repetitive, but the copyright page, as always with the modern Putnam editions, the number sequence goes down to number 1 or begins with number 1. That's the second book, signed copy. And how much is this? This is $100. No, this is $75. No, it's $100. I forgot to write it in, so I had to use my memory, which is pathetic. Here's the third book, Shadow Prey, signed on the page both as John Sanford and as John Camp, which is a little unusual, and dated January 90, which is the time of publication. And as you see, there's the number sequence starting with number 1. And this is $75. Silent Prey. This is the fourth book. Also signed. Also in perfect condition. Same number sequence. If you're nodding off yet, I don't blame you because there's nothing interesting to tell you about these books. They're so easy to tell. That's $45. Winter Prey, the same stuff. I'm not even going to show it to you. It's signed. It's a perfect copy. It's a first edition, and it's cover price. We have a virtually complete run, as you saw, looking at the shelves. We were showing you all those Sanford books on the shelf. Virtually complete, all in perfect condition, all signed, and they're all a cover price. There's no premium because I love this guy so much. I buy a lot of his books, so we're very well stocked. So it's an easy person to collect. The books are, all easy to tell if they're first editions, and they're relatively modestly priced for almost all of the titles except the very early ones. This is just a sample copy of a Virgil Flowers book, who also works for the Minnesota Criminal Bureau of Apprehension. He was brought into the Bureau by Lucas Davenport. And we have a virtually complete run of these, and they're all also published by Putnam, signed as you see, and the usual number sequence for the Virgil Flowers. And these all are, again, at cover price, $24.95, whatever that cover happened to be. So there we are. That's John Sanford. Thank you for watching. I know this is generally watched not live on Wednesday morning when we do the video. So you'll see this. Most people see this later. But I'm going to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving anyway, even though you'll see it after Thanksgiving. So I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching.